Welcome to episode 150 of The Numbers Game. I'm Jase. I'm here with Nick and Marty, and I'm bloody excited. We did it, boys.
We did it. Now that it's here, I'm sort of overwhelmed. It's quite an incredible performance.
Where's the streamers?
Like I said,
streamers, bubbles, balloons.
We're not those type of guys, But
do we declare? What do you do when you get to 150? Marty, I've never got there. You're a cricketer from way back.
I think you got to go to 200. Yeah. I think you got to go to 200. It's sort of a half bat raise again, isn't it?
We're not done, boys. We're not done. 200's definitely on the cards. But, God, it feels good. I think it's been a lot of energy, a lot of effort, but it always feels good getting in a room with you guys and sharing some value with our audience. So while it feels like there's a lot of effort put in, it also feels very rewarding. Would you boys agree?
Definitely. And I think, the majority of podcasts end by episode 6 or 8, wasn't it? The vast majority. So to be a part of something that's 150 episodes is very unique and a lot of effort and work, but makes it enjoyable when you hear, people that do listen and you have a chat to them and they really appreciate the fact that we do it. And it always amazes me that people are listening. So I think that's fantastic. So I like talking to you blokes, but I do like that we're having an impact out there in some way, shape or form as well.
Straight off the bat, I was just a huge thank you to everyone who does listen. And like you said, Marty, I was out at a accounting pilot roadshow presentation the other day, bumped into a guy who knows Nick, who says he listens to almost every episode. Then somebody else chimed in, said they listen to the episodes. And like what you were just saying there, Marty, I'm like, who listens to their show? But every time I log in, I can see 100 episodes a day or 200 episodes being downloaded a day going, geez, it's almost a bit of imposter syndrome. Like, I know we put a lot of content out there and we're trying to provide value, but sometimes you just forget that there's actually real life people out there listening to us three waffle on in a room.
And now on YouTube, I've caught the family starting to watch a little bit of YouTube,
really?
Saying, "Oh, Daddy, you're on TV." Oh God, yeah, I am.
I remember
it's just YouTube.
I remember one of our earlier YouTube clips must have been back in the first season, just kind of the smaller 1-2 minute videos. Casey's nephew Regan viewed it, and there was only like 7 views. He's like, "Oh, your YouTube only has 7 views, Uncle Jason," like I was some kind of loser. I'm like, mate, we're just getting started. Give us a break. So, we're up to 23 views now. So thank you, Regan, if you're out there watching. Thanks for watching another 20 times since you last looked. So
tripled our views.
Exactly. Before we crack into a bit of a 2023 in review, we had our predictions from a year ago when we did this app, and we get into our 2024 predictions. Also, beyond thanking our listeners, this was our first season that we recorded with a major show sponsor. So a big thank you to Dashboard Insights for their support. And listeners, if you are out there and you are running a business and you think Dashboard Insights could be of value to bring you some maximized profitability and give you stunning dashboards to view real-time data of what's happening in your business, these are completely customizable depending on the business you run, whether it's data from Xero or your CRM. So worth a chat to see how Dashboard Insights can help you take your business to the next level. Ryan and the team are incredible. Dashboardinsights.com to go and check them out.
And what was the episode we interviewed Ryan again?
145.
Yeah, fantastic guy. And thanks for your support, Ryan. It's we're honoured to have a sponsor. So doing what they do is quite incredible. So check out 145 and learn a little bit more about Dashboard Insights. Great company.
100%. Well, guys, just to kind of set the scene a little bit for this episode and for some of our listeners who may be recently new listeners to the Numbers Game or may not have listened to the episode from, I think it was December 22nd, 2022, roughly about then, the last one we dropped a year ago. Just wanted to recap that, Marty, for your memory, for you, I don't know if you knew this, but you'd just come off your hip operation. I think you'd been locked up for about 4 weeks and hadn't left the house. I think you were going a little bit cuckoo.
Yeah, I'm going really well now. It's a year on and played 9 holes of golf with Chief Riley and saw how good he was and really edged me to want to get better, which is always a good thing.
Yes.
Work with the people you admire. It was, but it's great. I can't believe if anyone is in their 40s or 50s and have problems with their hip and need to replace it, for goodness sake, do it. Even though that first 8 weeks is horrendous because it's pretty scary. But after that, a year on, I feel great.
Good time to talk about a new sponsor, hipreplacements.com.au. Is that what we're getting into?
Yeah,
Well, I'm glad that you're feeling up and about, Marty, and the hip's going well. Nick, for you, I had a bit of a listen. You just stained your deck, so I don't know how your deck's looking for this summer, but you were up and about the warm weather with a freshly stained deck.
I've already stained it again.
Oof.
What I've learnt is a brand new deck probably needs a couple of coats because it actually disappeared like it hadn't been stained pretty quickly, but then it got cold and I couldn't be bothered. So I put another coat on it probably 2 months ago, and I think I could nearly have another one. Yeah, so it seems like when they're new, there's probably people out there that know decks listening to me going, no shit, dickhead. But anyway, I was like, I'm going to be consistently staining this deck because it's very thirsty, if that's how you'd explain it.
And Jase, this time last year, you were in London, weren't you, if I remember correctly?
I was over there for a wedding, and it was the same day as my wedding was the year before. So we've had some wedding anniversaries and some reminiscing about being in London when it was snowing. And, this year we've had cyclones and 40-degree heat waves in Sydney and rain and miserable in Melbourne. So a bit of a weird, different December for me compared to London with a bit of snow and Christmas lights everywhere. I think I said something along the lines of that Santa had vomited on London. It was that Christmassy over there with trees and lights everywhere. How are you guys seeing Christmas this year? Are you seeing a lot of festivities and Christmas trees and lights, or are you feeling like it's also probably a little bit flat here with inflation and cost of living still?
You know what? I hadn't given this any thought until I saw Marty's note there about the Christmas lights and cost of energy, Marty. You think cost of energy is having an impact?
Oh, that was last year, wasn't it?
That was last year, correct.
I can feel that this year.
I'm just a forward thinker.
Yeah.
It's just ahead of your time, Marty.
I feel like everyone's being very festive from a social point of view. Like I feel like everyone's out and about and parties and whatnot. But just thinking about it around our area, and our area is not, we're not suburbia, but we're also not CBD. So, and there are usually lights, but it's not something I've really noticed this year. And I think they'd be up by now, wouldn't they?
We're the same out east. There's hardly anyone putting up lights. It's weird. It's really strange.
Energy prices.
Yeah, and I don't really notice it in South Yarra. I mean, the odd little fairy light hang on a balcony, but yeah, don't see too many Christmas lights where I am.
Uh-oh.
All good though. So that's a bit of a look from a year ago to see where we were, and maybe I reckon the opportunity we've got here is to get each of us to recap what our prediction was for 2023, how it went, and then share our prediction for 2024. So we haven't really planned the structure of this, and I might just throw Nick straight under the bus and go to Nick for what was your 2023 prediction for a year ago? How successful were you in your prediction?
Okay.
And then what have you got for us for next year so we can reflect again?
Okay, so to rip the Band-Aid off, I failed. So my prediction was that Elon Musk will serve time in prison during 2023, during the 2023 fin year I had there, but I think calendar year.
That could just be my accounting typing that out as well.
Yeah.
Blame me for that.
So look, it didn't happen. He, for whatever reason, he hasn't gone to jail yet, but he's done plenty of strange things. Like everyone's across his purchase of Twitter, and it's now X, and
it's true.
Shackles are off on X. I'm not on X, but from all reports, there's some pretty interesting stuff on there these days. My wife shows me some things, and there's no limits, which for some things is good, for some things is not so good. So do you want a 2024 prediction now?
I would love one. Yes, please.
I've got two. First one is Elon Musk will serve time in jail at some stage in the 2024 year. And if anyone thinks I'm joking about that, just go and listen to his last podcast he did with Joe Rogan. I think he's officially losing the plot. So he's done a lot of podcasts with Joe Rogan, but if you listen to the last one, it's very interesting. There was a lot of talk about him and Zuckerberg fighting. They've challenged each other to a fight. Said he wouldn't need to train for the fight. He'd beat Zuckerberg any place, anywhere, anytime. So he really wants to fight Zuckerberg. But there's just something. He's always been strange, but he's getting looser and looser and looser. So anyway, I'm going to leave that there and just watch this space. And if it's wrong again this year, I'll just change it to 2025 next year. And my other prediction is that Donald Trump will get back into office in 2024.
I think that could well happen. I think you might be right on that one. Absolutely. As for Elon Musk, he is off another planet. He's maybe Mars. That's where he's headed, but he's still he's just off the wall. So I don't know where that's going to head.
He's becoming loose, though. He was always a crazy thinker, and obviously a brilliant mind. Let's be honest, but seems to be becoming a bit loose. I don't know. Listen to it, Marty. You'll enjoy it.
Yeah, I will. I will.
Don't know how I'd behave if I had $250 billion at my disposal, though. So
no, I'm not at all judging him. I'm not judging him.
I could get a little cray too.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out what I'm seeing. So,
in fact, I'm willing to get loose for that, buddy.
If you had that much money, I'd get loose with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeez. This is going off the charts this episode. Bring it back into some sort of semblance.
This is what happens our first nighttime recording and we've just lost the plot. So, 150 episodes and we waited for the 150th to record at nighttime. So something new and maybe it won't be repeated, but here we are and we're getting it done. Marty, 2023, what did you tell us?
Well, I thought there'd be 2 more rate rises, so failed miserably there. There were 5. So it shows you where I was at thinking, geez, we wouldn't want more than 2. But, we ended up with 5. And I thought Bob Iger would come back to Disney, which, he certainly did. And but I thought he'd buy Tesla because Elon Musk was in jail. So that hasn't quite happened yet. My prediction for 2024, I think it's probably going to be, and this is my own read, one of the most disruptive economic climates we've seen since the GFC and the 1991 recession. I just feel like all the things I was concerned about going into last December is sort of coming to fruition now. And just talking to people and hearing the struggle and people really changing lifestyles and not being all that happy doing it. I think cost of groceries will go up another 9% with inflation because wages are still going up and there's still huge expense to be able to produce food. So I still think there'll be a jump in sort of the cost of food by another 8 or 9%. So look out for that. And I still think, I don't know whether we're at the top end of the interest rate cycle. I'm hoping we are with just what I'm hearing out there. There might be one more rate rise that I'm willing to put my name to, but I'm actually hoping not because I think people are sort of at that hanging on stage and there's certainly going to be some activity, some rapid activity into 2024. If people start to struggle, I think we'll see more businesses fail. It's not very positive, I know, but I also think it's an opportunity to support people more than ever, particularly in our fields, in the finance field, even in financial planning and in accounting as well, Jase, because I just feel like people are going to need advice around decision making and making important decisions more so than ever before. So I'm really looking forward to the challenge. I think this type of market is a real test of character, but I think you're going to have to work hard for your result. And that's okay. That's okay. I just think you got to steel yourself and know that inflation is not going to come back to the levels the economy wants to see till 2026. So I still think we've got elongated time frame of these higher rates. And like I've said in previous episodes, I think you've got to make decisions from where you're at now and work out what the next 12 months are going to look like for you. So big prediction is I think rates might go up one more time, but they'll hold. I don't think they'll come down in 2024. I think just general food will go up by another 8-9% as well. And I think Bob Iger might just be able to buy Tesla if Nick's right and Elon goes to jail, which would be good to see. It would be fun.
Now, look, Marty, I think, there are definitely things we can focus on, but also things like if you're actually aware of that and have some of that in your mindset, you can start to make some early decisions around how to set yourself up, how to review your finances, how to look at, what your expenses are and start to plan ahead. So I don't mind someone's got to sometimes bring in some of the more not so glorious, sexy predictions and give our listeners something tangible to take away with, because I'm going to say it now that mine is going to give you not too much. Last year I had one that I said, and then Nick shit canned me and said it needs to be a better prediction. But the one that Nick wasn't that impressed with was my thoughts on the rise of artificial intelligence. It was around November 22 that ChatGPT had come out. I listened to the episode. I was calling it chat.openai or .com or something rather than actually saying ChatGPT. So that's how early it was that ChatGPT hadn't even really become a household or a business term that we all know it as. So I said that I think AI will be really prevalent in our day-to-day lives. It'll be being used by business owners to help them have better businesses and as well as everyone day-to-day. That was my main prediction for 2023. I want to asterisk it as not a complete fail. I turn around in my office day-to-day and see ChatGPT open and people are kind of crafting emails and, doing blog posts and different things for social media. So I think AI is growing rapidly and it's very much on people's minds. I think maybe I'll throw to your thoughts first on AI do I get a,
I agree.
it's not a fail?
It's not, no, I agree, but I don't think it's done what we thought it would do yet. And that's understandable, right? It's so new. We don't know how to use it. We don't know what it's going to be used for. But there are a lot, referring to our industry now, there are a lot of tech business that are starting to implement it. Whether it's actually working and doing what they wanted to yet, there's still a question mark. So I think, there's just still a lot of question marks. But I'll give you a pass for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you. Too. I thought it's probably one of the closer ones that we had. But again, it's like, all this AI stuff. It's like people are going, oh, well, what do you want? We can build you anything. I'm going, well, I just want the product.
Yeah. What does that mean?
I don't want to have to build it out. But you're getting a lot of that at the moment. So so I'd like to see it in more functional usage, to be blatantly honest. But it was very good prediction.
Hold that thought, Marty, for my 2024 prediction. But the other one, so Nick challenged me and said, we need something that can actually be better measured. And I said that the Essendon Bombers under Brad Scott were going to win their first final in something like 6,800 and something days.
Wasn't it a great day, Jase, when we won that final this year? Wasn't that just worth waiting for after how many years? 19 years, 20 years since we've won a final?
Nick, was Marty taking too much of his painkiller medication during this time? Or
we lost again. We lost again.
We didn't even make it, Marty. We didn't even make it.
I know. I just wanted to have a moment. I just wanted to have a moment as if we did, because that's as delusional as it's going to get for us.
I was thinking, what have I missed? Is he talking AFLW or VFL? Have I missed something?
No. I don't think we even got a finals win in the AFLW. Actually, Geelong pumped us. So I'm going to roll both of those over. That AI in 2024 will be big, and this is where we'll start to see it more implemented in the day-to-day things, especially the tech tools. I mean, when you're typing a text message now, your phone is starting to fill out the text message ahead of what you're saying. That's actually predictive AI is helping you craft your texts. So think about little examples like that. But by the end of 2024, for example, I might be really kind of putting my wish list out there, but the ability for, let's say, my CRM system or the technology we use to run our accounting practice, being able to do a voice command saying, how much was my turnover last month? And the AI pulls out my turnover and just presents it to me in a chat box. So AI, I think some of the tools that'll be out in a year from now will be just really streamlining things that we do day to day. Also going to roll over that Essendon Bombers will win a final and end something that'll become like a 7,300-day drought since our last finals win. I've got a quick little list of some things that didn't exist that didn't exist the last time Essendon won a flag. YouTube didn't exist. The iPhone didn't exist. Facebook didn't exist. So if you think about some of those things, Joe Danaher was 10 years old and now he's playing in a grand final played in a grand final with Brisbane last year. So just think about how long ago that was for the Bombers to win a final.
I hope the Essendon Footy Club's listening to this podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Spent a lot of time in that, watching that club.
And I've got one more that I read just while I was trying to see if there was something that popped up that I actually thought was quite interesting that I'm going to claim as my prediction for next year. Overseas travel will reduce. I think in the last year or two in a post-COVID world, overseas travel went bonkers, but people were spending money. Even if they didn't have the money, they were getting a credit card or they were getting a loan and running up some debt to do this overseas travel because there was a desperation. Then they had it booked in, and maybe since then there was the 5 rate rises that Marty just told us about. So I think heading into 2024, off the back of Marty's prediction and off some of the things I've looked at, I think overseas travel really starts to reduce. That's just not Australia leaving to go elsewhere. That's everywhere around the world, their ability to travel overseas. And one of the main things for that is even the Chinese economy. So China's economy is in a bit of a murky kind of area, and housing prices and things like that over there are really kind of pushing the limits. So when China doesn't travel all over the world, let's say, for example, Disney statistics, this is where sometimes when you're numbers orientated, the wait times at Disneyland have been down this year versus last year with less people, or towards the back end of this year, the wait times are getting less, meaning there's less people there lined up waiting to go through.
That's very unusual for Disney. Well, that's unprecedented.
Yeah,
really.
So interesting one there. So that's the predictions. I think one of the other things I just like to not necessarily end on, I got a few little stats to talk about, but wondered if you guys would be open to sharing a learning from 2023. This type of year is always good to reflect back and look at the year, and I think sometimes we do it over the Chrissy New Year break before we get stuck into another year. But is there anything that comes to mind, Nick, for maybe either personal or professional or learning from 2023 that you'd be open to share?
Yeah. So I've given this some thought. And I've done one for each. And I had done one for each. There you go. Very prepared. So
well done.
Business first. There's actually 2 with business that we've learned this year. And the nice things in business are great, but you can't move away from what keeps the doors open. So what I mean by that, and I'm not downplaying any of these things, I'm just saying you've got to keep your eyes on what actually gives you the ability to inject certain things into your business. So obviously culture, HR, diversity within your business, all these things that are highly important. But I find at times, particularly lately, businesses can go away from that and think about the core of what they actually do and what keeps the doors open. Because if the doors aren't open, you can't focus on any of that. So, I think businesses need to just always remember what they do and do that well. And then that brings all the other nice to haves in. And the power needs to sit with the employer within reason. So again, I hope people don't take this the wrong way. But I think what happened through COVID, and we've spoken about this, is the labour market went crazy. Employees were dictating what they wanted to get paid because someone else is giving them that. I think it needs to go back the other way because it's gotten a little bit crazy. It's gotten difficult for businesses to make money, particularly certain industries. The labour market will tighten up. It's just a matter of time, and the power will go back to the employers, and so it should, because the employers are the ones that take all the risk. The employers are the ones that provide the opportunity. The employers have got to worry about 150 people in their business, not 2. So I think the power needs to sit with the employer, again, within reason. You have to be a good employer and you have to look after your staff 100%. That's what we do. But I think the employer needs to have the power. Personally, I think learning how to be content. So I think a lot of a lot of what's happened the last few years, I think we realise how lucky we are, particularly when you look at what's happening external to our country at the moment for the last few years. And I think there's a lot of power in being content. Obviously, you need to strive, and you need to, in most cases, want to improve and want to be better and want to be a better person, better business, have goals, objectives for sure. You should do that. But I think sometimes you need to stop to smell the roses and show some gratitude for what you have, because in a lot of cases it's pretty good, particularly in this country. And I think what's been happening ever since the rise of social media is we're constantly looking what others are doing, whether that's fake or not, and thinking that could be us, and we want this and we want that. And I honestly think it's gotten a lot of people in trouble financially the last few years, and I think a lot of that is going to come home to roost. So, yeah, just learn to be content and show some gratitude for what you have, and the grass isn't always greener.
Well said, Dick. Well said. Thank you for sharing. Marty?
Yeah, I think professionally this year, just combined talent and leadership is a superpower. I think just given some of the challenges that come up, it's just good to have good leaders and good teammates in a business to have different perspectives, to work through challenges more effectively. And I always bring up the concept of the Beatles, like individually, they all had number one hits as individuals and they had unique components as individuals. But when you brought those four lads together and you combined all those attributes, they were absolutely phenomenal and will stand the test of time, over the next 100,000 years as the foundation of music. And and not to put it to that extent, but I can see the benefit of having really strong people within our business that we can, whenever there's a challenge or an opportunity, we can sit down and get outside of our own thoughts and come back and come up with a solid direction forward. I think that's an absolute superpower. And I've recognised that more in the last year than ever before. Always understood that to be the case, but when it is challenging, it's great. Even personally, just to shift the perspective personally, or someone that's got your back, it means a lot in these times, and certainly a lot of gratitude for that. I also know you can outwork any market condition, but you got to do the work and you got to find an edge that you might not have found previously. And I don't mean to do even better than you did the year before, but just sometimes to hold, like you have to work sometimes 2 to 3 times harder to get a result. And I know our teammates have certainly done that in this financial year, and they've held where, others haven't been as fortunate. And you're certainly respectful of people's ability to step up when you need them to step up most. And, so great admiration to our team in general, because it wasn't an easy year, but what came out of it was, something where we could be all proud of, even though we didn't have dramatic growth like we've had in previous years. Sometimes you've got to be even better in these environments so you can ride that next wave when it comes, which, will be, I think, on the back end of next year. But I think we're ahead of the market by doing it. So that was good. And personally, dogs bring great joy to a family. I never thought I'd be saying this out loud, but when we purchased Penny Lane in, I think it was January of this year, Penny Lane doesn't know anything about inflation. Penny Lane doesn't know anything about economic challenge, but you feed Penny Lane, you give her a rub on the tummy. She's always happy to see you. I get delighted to see the look on Charlie's face and Cole's face when she jumps into the bed for a cuddle, and you just realise how simple and wonderful life is from a dog's perspective, that just love you unconditionally, no matter what you do. When you give them love, it comes back tenfold. It's a great lesson in life, and I've just been just to see the family dynamic shift to another level again has been really has brought me great happiness. So I'm very grateful on a personal level, and to rekindle my love of dogs that I had when I had a Samoyed, John. Can you believe the dog's name was John? But dog's name was John, the Samoyed, when I was 9 years of age, and how much joy that brought me. And I had that same experience again going through it with Charlie. So it's been, personally, I've really enjoyed that. So yeah. Jase, what about yourself?
Well, learnings in 2023, a professional start. We kind of had the tale of two different 6 months. The first 6 months of the year was a bit turbulent. There was a few wrong things going on internally, and it was the wrong focus, right? And what it became was this focus on, we had some revenue targets and we wanted to grow at a certain speed, and we had it all wrong. I think we might have touched this before, the whole, revenue is vanity, profit is sanity point of view. And come the middle of the year between June and July, we had that real hard, honest talk with ourselves and with our team. And we kind of reset the vision and reset the idea that we're just going to go back to basics. We just really need to take it month by month, unpack some KPIs and some key metrics that we needed to focus on. And what we've achieved between July and December now has been by far the best 6 months of my working career as a business owner and in business in general. Like I've just really enjoyed the consistency and the habits that the team have built. Our leadership team, Greg and I, and all the people around us. It really did become about how rewarding it is to put in the work. But put it in work in a smart way, as I said, with consistency and good habits and good routines. We reviewed the cadence of our WIP meetings, the way that we did month-end billing, the way we worked with our clients, and the way we kind of nurtured our culture. So, yeah, really, really enjoyed the putting in the work and the consistency and habits of that importance. And there've been some lessons of going back to basics and just kind of focusing on a couple of things, but also getting everybody on board to have the same end point or the same goal of where you're going. I think sometimes business owners can forget to really share with the team the good and the bad. And I think through sharing the bad back in July of that we hadn't had a really good end to 2023, our team were devastated, and they got on board and went, this ain't going to happen again. We're with Jase and Greg in future, and we know what we're here to do. And, we exist to help people have a better future. And day in, day out, our team rocked up and have absolutely killed the back end of this year. And I'll be forever grateful for that and let the good times keep rolling. From a personal point of view for 2023, I think there's just been, I don't know whether it's the age I'm getting to, and we hit your mid, I've just turned 36, as I said, but starting to hear more and more stories around, just how life can be short and it can be cut off at any point in time. And, there's a lot of illness and cancers and, COVID and whatever else there is in the world. So for me, from a personal lesson, it's you really got to be doing something that makes you happy. I know, Nick, you talked about gratitude and being content, living and enjoying life, no matter what that looks like. But if you are putting off happiness or being content to say, I'll get that later, but right now I'm going to do something that makes me unhappy with the view or thought that I'll be happy later, sometimes later doesn't come for everyone. So, really focusing personally on enjoying life day to day. And, I think I've had a great year. I enjoy my life. I love my life. I love the people I spend my time with. And I hope, if there's a lesson you can learn from that is reflecting, having that gratitude, as Nick said, being content with what you've got. But if you are in a situation where you're feeling like, you hate your job or you're not happy with whatever you're doing, maybe it's time to look at the start of 2024 as a chance to go, what's going to make me happy or what I want to do, to find that. And that is me.
Good.
Yeah, that's
awesome.
Really well said, mate.
Yeah.
It's it's sometimes finding your own happiness in things, with just expanding your own awareness on different perspectives and things like that. It's interesting you being at 36. Like, I remember that time in my life being really pivotal in making new decisions for the future. And I needed some reflection time at that point, just been working so hard for so long. And it was great because I did enjoy what I did. It was just, I probably didn't manage it as effectively as I could have. And I think that's the other thing, to have good friends around you talk about things. And, sometimes you find your joy in what you do. Andre Agassi did that, in regards to tennis, thought it was a nightmare at one stage and come back and found the love within it. And, it's fascinating, but it's great reflective time
Wisdom.
of your life
It's called
too.
wisdom.
Yeah, it's great wisdom. Yeah, it's all awareness. That's what someone said to me. Just expanding your awareness.
Gents, when it comes to wisdom, I've spent 1,500 minutes this year creating content with you boys for the 65 episodes that we dropped in 2023. So just a couple of last minute stats to reel off as a thank you to our audience too. We love our numbers. You knew it was going to happen. I do feel like there's a lot of wisdom that comes from listening to you guys or, having mentors, people doing education, listening to podcasts. So I do thank you both for your time. I also thank the listeners in 29 countries. Did you guys know we have listeners in Saudi Arabia, Bangladesh, India, USA, Sweden? There is listeners to the Numbers Game in 29 countries. So
maybe we should be chasing some Saudi sponsorship.
Well,
plenty of money over there.
Just because Messi didn't go to Saudi doesn't mean Jase, Nick and Marty can't do some Saudi deals. So
we'll go to Saudi.
Right, 100%. US and the UK are our two next biggest regions outside of Australia. But interestingly, Spain, Singapore, New Zealand, Indonesia, and Ireland are all on that list as well. So anyway, roughly waffling on a little bit at the end of this season here. But thank you to all of those listeners that make the Numbers Game possible. And once again, thank you to Dashboard Insights for making the season possible. We will be on a short break if you're listening now and waiting for the next step to come out next week because you're going to be bored. So you'll have to retrace back through some of our previous content that we've done. And we'll be back in 2024 with another season while we're on the run to episode 200. Have I gone too early talking about episode 200? Or
I think it's time.
Until then, like, follow, subscribe. Do connect with us all on LinkedIn, Instagram. We love seeing your comments, your likes, your feedback, your messages. And you can email us hello@thenumbersgamepodcast.com.au. Until next time, though.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost ripping on your nose. I think it's nipping. Just in Melbourne. Merry Christmas. Thanks everyone for listening. Have a safe Christmas. Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you to your boys, and we'll see you in 2024. Game over.